I'm Sharon.
And I'm Catherine.
And this is Feminist and Talking About It.
AKA Fat About It. Episode 2.
Fat stuff on your telly box. Content warning, weight loss, dieting, eating disorders, and disordered eating.
I'm halfway through the second episode. Delicious stars, Dawn French, Amelia Fox, and him out of Game of Thrones that's in love with Khaleesi. And basically it's a love triangle. So traditionally it would normally be that him out of Game of Thrones would be married to Dawn French, and hot Amelia Fox, not blonde bimbo, that sounded really horrible, and no, I can't say that, blonde bombshell. Seriously, Sharon, we need to edit that out. I'm not having that going on. So yeah, it would normally be Ian. I'm going to call him Ian. I feel like that's his name. Him out of Game of Thrones and Dawn French would be married, and then the blonde bombshell Amelia Fox would come along, and they would have an affair. Except it's not. In this way, they've kind of inverted it a little bit. He was married to Dawn French. He did have the affair with Amelia Fox. 20 years later, he then has an affair with Dawn French. And then he dies. And then everybody's got to deal with the whole fallout. There's like teenage kids. And then obviously Amelia Fox and Dawn French have to figure out how to kind of get along. There's a hotel business. There's a lot of scenes with food and cooking, because that's how him and Dawn French met, and they cooked, and that's kind of how their whole relationship was founded on. So the first episode, I was quite positive about. I felt quite good about. There's a bit of skinny shaming from Dawn French's point of view towards Amelia Fox, and there was a bit of fat shaming from Amelia Fox towards Dawn French. But I was willing to kind of look past that to get into the actual nitty-gritty of the storyline. And two strong female leads. I was like, right, okay, let's give this a go. But this episode, whilst it's all right, there is Dawn French's character has a daughter who is, it's alluded to at this point that she's anorexic, and so Dawn French tries to get her to eat, and she's like, well, I don't want to be like you, so I'm not going to eat. And that's no word of a lie. That's kind of what's implied in that scene. And then the teenage girl goes off, buys loads of food, and then is seen binging. Except,
nice.
Yeah, it's quite intense. There's no content warning before the programme started. And
no, of course there isn't.
Now, if it was if there was nudity, if there was sex, if there was drug taking, if there was violence, if there was even, if there was anything like that, there would be there are some scenes that viewers may find distressing. That always annoys me, because it doesn't explain why you may find it distressing. So if it's one of your triggers, you're like, well, is it me? Is it not? Am I affected? Can I watch it? Can I not? Oh. Whereas with this, it's on just after Modern Family. I'll talk about Modern Family for days, so I'll come back to you on that one. So it's on at like 9 o'clock on a Friday night, prime time, Sky One. Nothing. And I'm only halfway through. It's the man's funeral on at the moment. So goodness knows what will happen after the funeral. So I recommended that Sharon watch it last week. I said, look, let's watch it together, and we can talk about it. And no, just don't.
Not anymore.
Not if you're not prepared or able to kind of cope with that, because it is quite in your face in this episode. I'm going to stick at it. Yeah. So I'm going to take one for everybody out there, and then I'll report back and let you know if you feel like you can watch it or not. But yeah, it really kind of came as a shock for me this afternoon, especially considering I knew I was going to be recording this as well. I was like, I'll just stick that on in the background. Oh dear. It wasn't.
Excuse
Bless
me,
you.
sorry.
Bless you. It wasn't as much in the background as I thought it was going to be. Basically, I think there's another 2 episodes to go. So goodness knows what they're going to bring out the woodwork.
So how many episodes is there in
I think
the
there's only
season?
4. There's only 4.
That's really short.
But it's more.
It's kind of like a mini series.
Sky One does them quite often. They do little mini series.
Okay.
So I enjoyed the Agatha Raisin ones that they did. But yeah, that's all I do with my life is watch telly. I'm also I did recommend that we watch This Is Us. And I think I must be in quite a strong place, or in a stronger place than I think I am, because I really enjoy it and I find it funny. But if you're not in a strong place, there's quite a lot in there that could be problematic for you.
I was literally about a minute into the first episode and I was like, no, can't watch this.
Yeah. I had saved up a couple of episodes and I knew, in fact, no, I didn't know the premise of it or anything, and then I was like, oh, and then it kind of, for those that haven't seen it, I've just realised those noises out of context. For those of you who haven't seen it, there's a lot of food-related policing done by herself in her fridge. So she puts post-it notes on all of her food and tells her not to eat it, and then it's everybody's birthday and there's a cake and it says don't eat the cake, and then she takes that post-it note off, and then there's some even more negative words underneath in that post-it note, and then there's a scene where she gets on the scales and she falls off the scales and then she can't get herself back up again, and you're like, oh dear, this is just like, it's not going to go well. And then her brother comes in and you think her brother's going to have a go at her, and he's not. He's lovely and supportive and amazing, and then you're like, oh, okay, perhaps this isn't going to go where you think it's going to go, which is kind of why I've stuck with it. There's a lot of scenes in This Is Us where they're in like a Weight Watchers style group, self-help group, and then that's where friendships develop from that circle. So yes, I really enjoy it. I think it is quite an interesting representation of fatness, I guess, and the thoughts that go through your head as a fat person, that if you've never experienced fat before, that sounds awful, doesn't it? But if you've never kind of thought about it, or you haven't come across anybody who is that size before, or anything over X size, then you would watch it and go, I'd never thought about it that way. You might kind of have those thoughts that she verbalizes, you might have never considered that to.
So it's educational.
I don't think it's meant to be. It's just I thought it could be that way. I'm not actually saying words anymore, am I? And I'm not actually making sense. I've kind of lost my train of thought because I'm thinking about it. And because you've not seen it and you can't join in and kind of keep me on an even keel.
No. I got to the fridge.
I know.
No.
I know. I think I started watching it before Christmas. Whereas I think as if I'd started to watch it like now, given the way the media is or the internet is at the minute, I think I probably would have done exactly the same, Sharon. So I wouldn't. Yeah. And when you messaged me to say that, I was like, yeah, actually thinking about it, I can see where you're coming from on that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I find This Is Us is a really positive program because of she constantly refers to her size, and yet nobody corrects her, but equally nobody says, yes, you do need to do something, and they help her on that journey, because obviously something that she is so desperate to achieve, that everybody supports her because it's her decision. It's not that somebody else has forced her to go on this journey. So that's why I think it's quite a positive part of the storyline, and it shows her relationship with her brother is, she's such a strong relation, like a strong character in herself as well. You know, it's not just about her and her fatness. She has a great kind of a role outside of that as well, if that makes sense. And there's scenes of her growing up as well, so there's a lot of flashbacks to her growing up and how her mum has played a part in the disordered eating that I think she obviously develops later on. So I think our mum has kind of not helped the situation, but then there's scenes. Anyway, I'm giving stuff away without meaning to, and I'm being too vague that it kind of doesn't make sense.
No, we're giving spoilers.
I am and I'm not at the same time. I'm trying really hard not to. So yes,
Okay.
can somebody please message me so that I can talk to them about This Is Us, basically. And
watch the program, do the thing.
Yeah, watch the program, message me, and go, "Oh my god, you're so wrong, you're so right. I completely see where you." Just I need to talk about it. Basically, this is what happens when you work from home and you're not in an office with people that watch the same TV as you. That you can then, "Oh my god, did you see?" Like Game of Thrones, I'm really going to struggle because I watch it and then go in and go, but I can't.
Yeah, but we could totally cover that one though. I'm all up for Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
For sure.
Anyway, I suspect when Sharon comes back to edit this, a lot of what I've just said may get cut out.
No.
Yeah. So yeah. I think if we had more programs out there that had fat bodies in them, I probably wouldn't be raving about it as much. But the fact that it is such a rare type of program to have such a representation in, that she's not there as the comic lead either. That's not our role. I'm thinking back to the program Sharon Rooney was in about Anne Summers parties in Sheffield in the 80s. Her role was pretty much a comic role. I mean, she had some lovely, profound moments, don't get me wrong, and Sharon is an amazing actress. But This Is Us is not a comic program, whereas I think the program that I'm thinking about, Brief Encounters, I think it was called, was, and as a result, Sharon was kind of the comic character in that as well. Okay. I watch a lot of TV, everyone. Leave me alone.
What's body positivity got to do with it? So, Nicolette Mason wrote an article that got published on Refinery 29 yesterday, on the 6th of January, called Who Got Left Behind When Body Positivity Went Mainstream. And, you know, go read the article, people. I'm not gonna, read it out for you for multiple reasons, including copyright, probably. But essentially, she talks about how she discovered body positivity through LiveJournal and so forth, which I have read or I'm guessing, I'm not quite sure, but that's probably around the 2008 era of when fat activism kind of began developing fat positivity, which then turned into body positivity. Well, it didn't. It wasn't turned into body positivity by fat people. It was co-opted. But anyway, so that's basically what the article's talking about, is the co-opting of body positivity into the mainstream as we know it now. And a lot of the kind of values and in particularly the diversity have been lost. And in particular, I think this is a good example from it. She mentions Ashley Graham and her British Vogue cover and not being able to get clothes from like high-end brands. And she says, if a size 12 white cisgender able-bodied highly celebrated supermodel with multi-million-dollar deals is not meeting the litmus test of acceptable aesthetics for capital F fashion brands, where do the rest of us living further outside the margins of normative beauty standards land? In a cesspit somewhere, basically.
Yeah.
So I think that there's more than one issue here that kind of amalgamate into themselves. A lot of people have been discussing this for quite a while, but it's also been quite prominent on social media and that lately. Stephanie, we've known about town, did a thread also yesterday about the co-opting of body positivity by the mainstream. And yeah, I've kind of lost my thought of where I was going with this, to be honest.
It's the idea that a straight-sized person can be body positive, but if anybody outside of, as you say, the normative boundaries of beauty tries to be positive, it's frowned upon, it's seen as being gauche, it's just not encouraged by the mainstream. However,
that's glorifying obesity.
Hey! Yeah.
Because that's our aim in life.
Isn't it
obviously. We just want everybody to be fat. No.
Yeah. So the thing that I was saying, the thing that I find with the likes of Stephanie's thread is, in my head, I'm saying I've heard all this before, because I have heard all this before, and I really admire Stephanie for her ability to still get angry. I do find a lot of the time I will just roll my eyes and skip on. I have had many a thread myself where I've ranted and raved about this brand here or that brand there. I commit to something and I say I'm never going to buy from this brand again, and other people are mortified that such and such has done such and such a thing. And then the next thing I see, they're doing an article praising such and such a brand for doing such and such another thing. And it just...
Yeah.
I kind of just get tired of being the one that stands in the background and goes, but remember, this brand did this terrible thing this amount of time ago. Or this person is problematic because they said this thing such and such a time ago. And don't forget, we don't like this person because this person did this thing. Blah. Etc., etc., ad infinitum. And so, yeah, I really do admire Steph for a great number of reasons, but mainly for her ability to still get angry, to still rant, to still have the passion and drive to change things and kind of to bring it into everybody else's feed, even just for, a couple of hours or whatever. I really admire her for that.
Yeah, likewise. I know a lot of people are very quick to forget a lot of things, and it's not necessarily a criticism. It isn't, because I don't know, sometimes I think that was only 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And
sometimes
other times I think it's very hard to remember and keep track of this constant bullshit, basically.
Yeah. And it's I kind of admire them for that ability to kind of to put, well, that was last month. Things have changed since then.
Yeah.
Was that, well, no, they haven't. and it's I do admit I did used to think when I was a lot more active in the blogging sphere that I would be a lot more I don't I've lost my train of thought, that I would be yeah, I've lost it. Darren, it's gone.
I don't know where you're going.
No, I don't know where I was going with it either.
Yeah.
I think what I was going to say is I wish I didn't have the moral compass that I do, because then I would have taken a lot more steps to climb up the blogging ladder, if you like. I think that's
totally. It's a lot easier.
Probably where I was going to go with it. You know, when you rant and rave about a brand, and I'm going to use River Island just because it's there in my brain. So you rant and rave about a brand not going above a size 24, and then the next thing I know, you're doing you've got blog posts on about gifted items that you've received from River Island, and I'm like, brilliant! You've just sold all of the bigger fats down the river because you've done X, Y, and Z. So I think that was probably.
Where is your backbone, people?
I think that was probably the time that I really started to not blog as much at that point, because I just thought there isn't much point, or there isn't a place for me. I think is probably where I was going to end that sentence.
Yeah. No, I get that, and I think we could probably do a whole podcast about that. So I'm just not going to go there right now.
Again, I don't blame you if you edit that bit out, because as you say, we can do a blog post on.
No, I think it's important to. It's part of the conversation, isn't it? As a lot of things are linked with one another. Like body positivity is now linked to consumerism, mostly. It's a marketing tactic. That's kind of pretty much all it is now. I mean, not for every individual, obviously, but generally speaking, I mean, when we get people that are branded spokespeople for body positivity, they're like the people who, I don't want to say don't need it, because all bodies are good bodies, and I think that's an important message to give, but at the same time, you know, check your fucking privilege. If you're a straight-sized, aesthetically pleasing, feminine, cisgender, white, able-bodied person, body positivity. Okay, I'm just gonna go there. Body positivity is not for you. You don't need it. Everybody has confidence issues and issues about body image and stuff, but that's not. Body positivity has kind of been watered down to this catch-all bracket, and that's not what it's about. It's not what it used to be about. It used to be about the marginalised, the people who are not represented in mainstream media, not Joe fucking Blogs from down the road who. It's not for you. Just stop it. It's not for you. Put the cookie back in the cookie jar. It's I don't know.
You've lost your train of thought there as well now, haven't you?
Yeah, it's a huge topic, and it's difficult to pick apart into little segments, really. But I do think go read the article, go read Stephanie's thread, which I also retweeted, so you can find it on my Twitter as well. Have a read about things about the history of body positivity and where it came from, and the kind of fat acceptance and fat activist movements of around 2008. And let us know what you think, but also don't. If you're the size 12 white cisgender able-bodied highly celebrated supermodel like Ashley Graham or similar, that I've got zero interest in what you have to say about body positivity, quite frankly. But everybody else, go for it. Let us know. Yeah. Thanks for the memories. I started listening to podcasts, I don't know, a month ago, not that long ago at all, really. And it's these people who have inspired me to do this, I think. Please go check out Bad Fat Broads, SJW Killjoys, and Stuff Mum Never Told You, although they're not recording anymore, the latter, but I think what they have recorded is still accessible, because I told you so. No, because they're they're really good. They're really enjoyable, and they all make really excellent points. So yeah, go have a listen, check it out, and if any of you are listening, thank you for what you have done and what you're doing, and keep up the good work, and let's collaborate. That would be exciting. Yeah.
I'm just here because Sharon told us to be here. Sharon just went, we're doing a thing.
Yeah, you do
just
the
get
thing.
on Skype and download this, and then we're doing a thing, alright? Okay, Sharon.
Let's do the thing.